And we're live. Hello, good morning, good afternoon, good day. I am Laura, Reverend Dr. Laura, and I'm here today with a very dear heart, special in my heart, super guest on the Women of Power show, somebody that I've known for a few years and who I consider to be a friend and a mentor and an incredible woman, person of power who really has embodied the New Thought principles and teachings for her own life. Reverend Dr. Erica Brown, who's in the UK with me here. Welcome to the Women of Power show. Well, not with me here, but in the UK.
Thank you for inviting me, Laura. I'm looking forward to this. I'm looking forward to spending time with you, as always.
Oh, so am I. And welcome here. If you're watching now, then you are here in this, which probably is about a 50-minute conversation with Reverend Dr. Erica. And I'm going to read out some of your bio, Erica, because you have a beautiful biography and on your website, and I've taken a piece of it to read here, an impactful piece, which begins with, after a life-threatening illness some 45 years ago, you were introduced to the science of mind and spirit, philosophy and teaching, which gave you answers you didn't find anywhere else to lifelong questions, supporting your quest for better ways to be, think, react, and finding more effective ways of uncovering and removing the self-sabotage and effects of stress that can so often accompany the background that you had. And part of that journey has been training in a range of alternative complementary therapy modalities. And as both a practitioner, a teacher, a minister, a doctor, this includes the study of metaphysics, the mind-body connection, non-denominational spirituality and mysticism. And your first teaching license for Science of Mind came in 1992. And you then became a Minister of Divine Metaphysics in 97 and subsequently an affiliate minister for Center for Spiritual Living.
Yes.
Oh my gosh. Spiritual guide and teacher and wisdom keeper and sharer.
And shield maiden.
And woman of power.
I actually have Viking in my blood, so I can truly claim to be a shield maiden. Yes. Just a bit of fun.
I love it. Well, it's amazing, isn't it? How I've never done ancestors and look back at my ancestors like hundreds and hundreds of years ago. But I think it's really interesting to realize what we've had, the past, our ancestors and how those
I actually took part in some DNA research at Oxford University, and that's how I know I do actually have, certainly on the matrilineal line, the Viking gene. And from what I've been able to glean from family history on the patrilineal line, my father's line also has that gene. So yes.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So there's power there. If nowhere else. Earthly power. Let's make that clear. That human power.
And power in your choices and your decisions on your spiritual adventure of unraveling and unfolding to become the teacher that you are and the guide that you are, bringing in all of these modalities from 45 years ago, being introduced to Science of Mind. I'm really intrigued as to how that happened.
Oh gosh, I think a lot of my life, I'm a very intuitive person. I've always been sort of driven by my instinct. I'll go quiet over something. People think that I should be doing some work, and actually, no, I'm working internally. That I'm actually reconnecting with my spirit to get that intuition. What is this next move that I have to make? And well, it must have been my late 20s. I had one of these periods in my life where I went in and I was driven to go to South Africa. And it was whilst I was there, talking with somebody at a party, as one does, and they were talking all sorts of weird and wonderful things that I really couldn't understand what they were saying, but it felt right. And as a consequence, they invited me to go to a Science of Mind talk. And it just felt so like I was coming home. And it was fortuitous because through that connection, when I was ill and I got this supposedly terminal diagnosis, I had everything in place to support me.
So the teachings came to you before you had the realization of a disease.
Only just.
The timing, isn't that just divine timing?
Absolutely.
All
yes.
Ways imperfection.
Yeah, absolutely.
And you delved in.
I dove in feet first. There were no classes. There was just a weekly talk. And eventually they showed me the Creative Thought magazine, which unfortunately doesn't exist anymore. But it was so ideal. It was just a very small little book with a daily affirmation and some ponder points. And you could just sort of slip it in your handbag, slip it in a pocket, and it was sort of unobtrusive. And I used to read that every morning. And that carried me through. And I didn't always feel comfortable with what I was reading, and sometimes I didn't even understand what I was reading. And I think that's the thing that I find remarkable in a way, that even though consciously I wasn't understanding these things, it was still having a conditioning effect, if you like, on my subconscious. And I was led to the right places to have the right alternative therapies, or have conversations with people, eat different foods, whatever it was that I was being led to do, and recovered. Because so many people who have that diagnosis don't. And in fact, the majority of people don't. So I do count myself very, very lucky. But whether I don't know, I can't tell you whether that there was something that I set up at some point in my life earlier to be led to those places, to be able to have those experiences, and maybe that's something I'm going to explore more in the future. Because there's always more to explore. You know, there's no ceiling on any of this.
There's always more, even when we
always more. Even when you think you're
looking, yes.
Yeah, even when you think you're cured, you've achieved the goal that you set out for, there's always something more. There's always, Ernest Holmes says that the Science of Mind teaching is open at the top, and it is, because there is always room for expansion. The universe is always wanting to expand and to express more of itself through its creation, of which we are a part. So when we as part of that creation, we co-create by that divine urge to be more, do more, have more, and to enrich our lives in whatever way it feels appropriate to us.
And so I'm interested on your discovery of this. What other aspects of your life changed? Because it feels as if the health was like, yes, this is urgent. And there must be other things that shifted as well.
I think that the main thing that shifted was my attitude to life. I had been through a whole series of incidents, events, circumstances that were not optimal. Let's put it that way.
Right.
And I think I think I have to acknowledge that I was going through periods of depression, but nobody realized at the time, and I wasn't sort of getting any help for it. And I think that's true for an awful lot of people, actually, that they have that kind of experience. But through the contacts that I made, I went to an evening. It was actually about acting and improvisation. And one of the things that we had to do was to play act something. And it made me feel so different. And it was about that sort of time that I started getting information about mind dynamics, the effects of external things on what was going on internally for us. And there was one particular doctor that I met, for instance, who taught me about visualization and the power of that. And he was very instrumental in my recovery. I'm convinced of that. And it taught me that when we play act something for as little as 5 minutes, the body starts producing the chemistry as if it was real. So that was a very, very powerful learning for me, because I experienced that at about that time. And it was, how can I put it? One of the things that I was introduced to at the same time as all this was going on was biofeedback. I don't know if you've come across that, but
I have.
this was
Yes,
the simplest of
certainly have.
little pieces of kit that this anaesthetist doctor friend of mine was playing around with, and he lent it to me. He actually let me take it home after his talk. And play around with it for the weeks, as long as I took it back the following week, which I obviously did. And I said to him that I think I wasn't doing this properly. It seems to have been, I may have broken it or something. He said, "Okay, if I want to just sort of sit here before anybody comes in, and we'll try it out." And he wired me up, and I was holding these rods, and everything was sort of switched on. And I just had to sort of go in within myself, and I was following a sound. And as I relaxed, so this high-pitched noise would go down and down and down and down, and I was getting slower in my breathing rate, and just sort of feeling more mindful in the present moment. And all the while, people were coming in for the talk, and the noise levels around us were going up, but my feedback on this sound was going even lower and lower and lower, because I was actually getting into theta levels or brain wavelength, because that's what he was measuring. And I had been doing that during the week, and thinking, oh, I can't be doing that, because you're meant to be asleep when you go into theta, or that was my understanding. But no, I was actually getting into those very, very deep healing layers. And what we know now about the brain wavelengths is that those moments between waking and sleeping, whether it's in the morning or in the evening, and that's when you actually make contact with your theta brain wavelengths, and that's your most creative, that's your most healing. Yes. So can you see, it wasn't just one thing that led to the healing. It was all part and parcel of this whole package of things that were happening to me. I still do it. I still do it. And when I came back to this country, I went to another talk about biofeedback, because it fascinated me. And it was a much more complex piece of machinery, and with a battery of lights to it. And the idea was to sort of see how the lights configured. And when one sort of got into the theta levels, the lights would take on like what they call a chalice shape, which is characteristic of healers, apparently. And I had always been doing healing in one way or another, without really knowing about it, and not without having any language for it, just within the family, within the close contacts that I had, and that's when I started actually learning more about the alternative and complementary therapies. Actually, so going and doing courses so that I could language what I had been doing most of my life.
And so what I'm hearing is it's like you said yes, and as you said yes, you were being supported in so many amazing ways
Yes.
with
Yes.
so many different opportunities for,
Oh, absolutely.
well, lifting the veil, and healing on a physical and emotional as well.
In many ways, yes, yes. I think yes, I did return to sort of episodes of depression over periods of time, but they were usually related to specific things that were going on in my life, and they didn't have the same sort of impact they had when I was younger.
Okay.
One of the things that I found was that if I allowed myself to be centered in me and connecting with what that I felt was me, not just the humdrum me if you're out there sort of chatting and going to parties or out to dinner or whatever, but when I connected with me, I felt calmer, and that brought in a completely different group of people into my sphere of activity, and so emotionally I felt stronger.
Mm-hmm.
And that's something that has continued to grow over the decades, actually. I've been through some fairly heartbreaking times, one way or another. Certainly a couple that I didn't think that I would sort of pull through as well as I eventually did. But they were part of my learning. They were part of my journey. And I've got to a point now that I can be so thankful that I went through those, because it's given me a different understanding of interactions with people and attachments. I've sort of looked into the distant avoidant attachment style, anxiety attachment style, and I think I've at last, cross fingers, touch wood, got to a place of secure attachment that it's taken me a long time to get to.
And is the attachment with the divine?
Oh, the attachment is
Or knowing that
absolutely
we're already
that's
always
bottom line.
attached.
That's bottom line. That is absolutely bottom
Yes.
line. And I got to a point where I did go through a very, very serious heartbreak, and it was very clear to me that the only thing that really mattered was my connection with the divine, and that's what I work on every single day.
Mm. And
Sometimes,
that is the
sometimes
foundation
several
of your.
times through the day, to just to get back to my center, to get back to my core, to get back into the heart. Because otherwise it would have been so easily just to build a wall around myself and say, I'm not having anything to do with anybody ever, 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 ever again.
Right. I mean, thank you so much for sharing so authentically here, because this is something that I think we all need to all have an invitation to realize. If people are watching now or at any point and you're feeling maybe, oh my gosh, my relationships, whether it's with a partner or our mother or our father or our children, thank you, because you're underscoring that there is another way that we can
Yes. Yes. And one of the
respond to these situations that happen.
Yes, one of the things that's happened for me is because I had a lot of adverse childhood experiences that then sort of kept going on through my teens and into my early 20s. I've done a lot of clearing around that, all of that. I've done a lot of forgiveness work, and I think that is actually one of the powers that I have, is that I can forgive, I can let go. I've got to. I like to think I've got to a level of compassion, that an understanding that I can do that. And one of the things that I do is the Ho'oponopono. Which I absolutely love, the positivity that comes through that.
Do you have this one?
No, I don't have that one. But I read the book that Joe Vitale wrote from
Oh,
on Zero
yes.
Limits,
Probably
when Ho'oponopono first became known about. And I have done a couple of the courses with his organization and with Dr. Hugh Len, who unfortunately is no longer with us, but he's left us a tremendous legacy, bless him.
incredible.
Yeah, and I was through them, the magic of the internet, was able to take part in the seminar that he gave on Maui. I think that was
Wow.
in the early, so I think it's about sort of 2015, 2013, something like that. Although I wasn't taking part in it then, I did it subsequently. But there were things that came through that that just so enriched the practice for me. And there are other levels to Ho'oponopono. Ho'oponopono on its own is fantastic, because it is about taking responsibility. And that it's like you're saying, nobody's to blame, there is no shame, but I'm taking responsibility for whatever passes in front of my eyes, whatever passes across my mind. That is my responsibility, to acknowledge that I have seen that, heard it, thought it. And what he did, as you probably know, he was working with the the criminally insane, never seeing any of them. As a clinical psychologist, but
amazing.
working with their file. And what he was doing, he was taking responsibility for that part of him that was being reflected into them. And I think, you know, if one's empathic in any way, that one's doing this anyway, but to be able to do it consciously, deliberately, and to know that it is coming with that divine connection, that divine flow of energy through whatever the energy particles are of my being, that other being, that other situation, whatever it happens to be. That, I think, is very, very powerful. I mean, you can hear my voice is getting stronger as I talk.
Absolutely.
It's your about it. Yeah,
it's your practice. I can feel that's it's or one
it's
of your
certainly
practices
one of
that
them. It's certainly one of them
that you use.
I use.
And it's interesting because you just said about you know, having empathy for others, even when we see behavior or experience or witness what's going on the planet, and you know, to have that level of empathy. What do you think it takes to see beyond the humanness within our, you know, how easy is it? Sometimes it's not
I tell
easy.
you what, you've got,
you know, when we think someone's,
you need courage. You need to be
courage
very, very brave in the face of some of the stuff that's going on out there, to sort of say, that is mirroring something in me that is so shocking and so horrifying that I could be harboring any of that. I have to clear whatever I can of that energy to help the people who that I'm seeing on the television screen or on Facebook, wherever the videos are showing up, in order to help to heal whatever has caused that situation, whatever.
So it doesn't mean, from my understanding, and I'm just kind of putting this out there for you, that it doesn't necessarily mean, oh, because somebody is torturing somebody, that I'm holding, that I would be. It's the frequency of it, isn't it?
We all have the potential. I think that if history teaches us anything, it doesn't matter how well educated you are, how well intentioned you are. We all around the planet, across all time, have had and still have a potential within us to do harm. You know, if we come from the apes, which is what sort of Darwin sort of has tried to indicate to us, and various other scientists across time, then within the chimpanzee tribes, for instance, the troops of chimpanzees, every so often they go on a rampage, and they target somebody in their tribe and literally tear them to pieces. And we have that genetic inheritance. We have the inheritance of hundreds of thousands of years of all the different peoples that have led to who we are today. And until and unless that energy is cleared and released, we still have that potential to exhibit that if given the right circumstances.
So as women, self-identified, or not, because I'm here, you know, I'm, you know, talking about the divine feminine, the spark of the divine feminine, which is in everything, in each of us. And here I am showing up as a woman. You are also. How do we navigate this and use that power for our lives without saying to ourselves, oh, well, you know, for me to recognize that means then there's something wrong with me?
No. There's nothing wrong with any of us. You know? I mean, we have come through a culture of got to fix this. Actually, no, I don't believe it's about fixing anything. I think it's about recognizing the potential and having self-compassion, having self-love, to be aware that we are the net result of our ancestors and whatever happened to them, whenever that happened to them, across generations. And for a lot of those generations, whatever happened was swept under the carpet. They didn't have access to the kinds of therapies and medications and approaches and ideas that we have now. So that's where the compassion comes in for ourselves, let alone the ancestors that we've that we're currently embodying the residual energies of. Right. So it's a case up for me of recognizing that ultimately, as I stand or sit now, I am a representative of whatever the divine is. That energy at the quantum level has come together to form me. That still has the divine spark in it. That still has the divine perfection in it. When I link to that, then I can do my best work to be able to help to heal my ancestral line.
Right.
When I'm healing my ancestral line, part of that is actually seeking forgiveness, if I can put it that way, for any harm that they've ever done, to who they might have ever done it.
That we wouldn't know of.
Couldn't possibly know of. Couldn't possibly know. So, you know, in past times, who knows what curses were laid. So it's unraveling all of that kind of energy, because everything at the end of the day, as you know, is energy. And those pockets of energy are residual, and we now know that they are inheritable. There's been lots of research gone into that over the last sort of 50 years that has proven that. And until and unless we put ourselves in a situation of deliberately, consciously healing whatever that ancestral thing was, then it gets passed on to the next generation. And each time that something gets passed on to the next generation, it actually gets compounded. There's an American, I think he was a psychologist or psychiatrist, Dr. John or James Bradbury. So I read something of his decades ago, and it was very clear from his writing and the patients that case studies that he was talking about, that where things have been swept under the carpet, they resurfaced. They resurfaced in the subsequent generation, but in a more emphatic way,
because it had been suppressed.
Because it had been suppressed, and because it's wanting healing.
Yes,
because ultimately we were wanting to get back to that perfection of divine energy, and as long as we're overlain with all these layers of inherited stuff, it challenges us. It challenges us to live in that perfect harmony, in that peace and cooperation. So that's where this the kind of practice with the Ho'opono and various other things that are so important. And it's not to take on any blame, it's not or shame for anything that's happened. It's just to recognize a reality and say, okay, that's a fact. How can I best deal with that?
Okay, and how can I change it? And how can I change myself?
Yeah.
And the way I think. So in your practice, because I know you work with people one-on-one, and you also have some groups,
Yes.
and we'll talk about that in a minute. Just in general, though. And I'm really interested in what I mean, that just really sparked something for me. Because as you were saying it, I was thinking of the old saying, you know, oh, just sweep it under the carpet. And you said it. It's so true.
Mm.
I heard that. I didn't hear those words, but I heard in my upbringing, I heard, well, no, don't open it up. It's going to be a barrel of
Let
worms.
sleeping dogs lie.
Let
sleeping dogs lie. Don't poke the bear.
Don't go there, you know.
Yeah.
Pandora's box. And that just really resonated as you said, yes, we are we're here alive right now in this time where healing has become, or the opportunity to heal those parts is becoming the norm. You know, you can walk into a doctor's surgery now and they will give mindfulness before a medication. They will say, you know, practice this before you take this, or along with it. And so we are shifting into a more open way of introspecting with ourselves, and that becoming okay. It's okay to look within and to heal those parts of ourselves. And as in business and or spiritual teachers, because we're all in, you know, it's business, isn't it? Bringing our spirituality into the world, and it is a business.
Yes.
And so
it's work.
It's work. And whether there's,
yes,
you know, whether that's a passion project or social impact, or a full-blown business where money's coming in, and it's still the energy we're putting into that entity. And how, as women then, Erica, can we really tip-top ourselves so that we are performing to the degree we want to, for the results that we want for our lives and the people we're working with?
Okay. There's a couple of things that one can do. I mean, some people are more morning people, some people are more sort of nighttime people. So you're going to work with what works best for you. But so either first thing in the morning or last thing at night, is to go over what one actually wants. I actually have, even here, a little bundle of cards that they're actually all written on. You probably can't see because they're different colors for different areas of life that I'm wanting.
That's a great idea.
And so it has a more of an impact on my brain. So it's just one statement on each card of what I choose and what I choose to be empowered by.
I love that, because I love the way you've color coded it, because then the brain is looking for a color, and that color is that thing. And that's really,
so
in fact, it's an easier way than writing a whole long story.
Yes, I think so.
It's like a snapshot. Yes.
Absolutely. And Bob Proctor always used to talk about sort of carrying a goal card around, of having an affirmation about your future written on a goal card that you carried around in your purse or your wallet all the time. And every so often through the day, you take it out and you just have a quick look at it, just to remind your like a flashcard, to remind your subconscious that's what it's being programmed to work on.
So you're creating this leap with the result that we desire, and that's what we're aiming for.
Absolutely. And it's always written in the present.
To remind ourselves.
Is written in the present tense, because the infinite is very literal and the subconscious is very literal. If you put it in the future tense, it puts it off into the future. You don't experience it now. But if you write in the present tense that I am becoming right now, I am being, I am doing, then it's in this moment that energy is changing. So,
and you talk about, sorry to just to kind of, you talk about the difference between affirmations and afformations. Would you please share on that, Erica?
Okay. So an affirmation is a statement. It's present tense written about the goal that you're wanting to demonstrate. Trouble with that for me is that it feels like a lie. The subconscious says, no, that'll never happen. Or somebody else has said to you, and you've got the memory of their voice, so say, well, as if that could ever happen to you.
Oh, a little
Those little voices,
yeah.
niggle away.
Yeah.
So, and our formation, it was actually devised by somebody who came through Science of Mind training, a chap called Noah St. John. And he couldn't understand why, when he was working so hard with all these affirmations, his work seemed to be getting worse
not happening
rather than better. And he had a shower moment. You know how you're either in the shower or you're driving, you're in a situation, or you're cooking.
Because the mind is free.
The mind is free, and it'll pop up with an intuition. And he had one of these intuitions that it was because there was these doubting voices coming up for the affirmations, that was what was being powered rather than what he was wanting to affirm. So he was prompted to turn the affirmations into a question. The idea is that it's still working on the outcome that you want, but it's worded in such a way that, what would it be like to be this? What's it going to feel like when
it's such a different frequency?
It's totally different energy, because it gets around that gatekeeper of the brain that's wanting to sort of keep you safe. Because the ego is basically what keeps getting in the way. It's diverting you from where you want to go to keep you in your safety zone. So what we're doing when we're changing, we're going into the unknown, and the ego says, no, that's dangerous. That's unknown. We can't possibly go there. Got to keep you away from that. But when you sort of put it as a question, the ego says, oh, that's an interesting question. And it just sort of slips past.
Okay, so there isn't the resistance.
There isn't the resistance, and actually things happen better and more quickly, and somehow in a bigger picture than you could possibly imagine.
Wow. Thank you for sharing. I know I interjected
you
as you're in the midst of these practices. I just wanted to get clear on that, because I think it's powerful to share.
Absolutely. The other thing that I did want to sort of share with you was the importance of doing the affirmations, whatever you want to call them, in the evening. Just before you turn out the light, that's actually conditioning your mind
into
so
the theme.
During the night it is churning over the last thing that you were thinking about. So if you've had a pretty awful day, you've had a row with somebody, the pets made a mess everywhere, the car broke down, whatever it might have been, you don't want to be sort of constantly sort of thinking about, that this happened, and if I'd done this, that could have happened, and I could have avoided that, and berating oneself for not doing things that one maybe should have done, shoulda, woulda, coulda, that one could have done to prevent those sorts of things happening. But if you're focusing your mind on the outcomes that you're wanting, just for the next day, even to have a better day tomorrow than I've had today, because I'm going to have new experiences. It's the Emile Coué thing, isn't it? Every day,
Yes,
in every way, my life is getting better and better. Even just that, if you can't think of anything else to say, just put that in your mind at night. Every day, in every way, my life is getting better and better.
Oh, yes,
miracles do happen. Miracles do happen.
Miracles do happen because we're living as a miracle. And then we're surprised when they happen.
But the thing is, if you're telling yourself that miracles can happen, you're actually priming yourself to notice them. To notice the happenstances and synchronicities. So that when they happen, you can notice them. You can say, wow, that was amazing. Oh, I'm so grateful that happened. And that actually brings me onto something else that really empowers people, is the practice of gratitude, the daily practice of gratitude.
Oh, Erica, this is such a blessing that you're sharing your practices here and what have impacted your life, and with as the teacher that you are and the experiences that you've been through and navigate, as we all do, thank you for sharing this.
Pleasure.
I feel like this is a masterclass in itself. Masterclass with Reverend Dr. Erica.
Absolutely, absolutely. But it is something, I have been steeping myself in this on and off. It's not a daily practice. There have been times when I've been sidetracked by life and different interests, but I come back to it all the time because this is where it feels authentic. It feels I have that connection, and with that connection comes that power to overcome just about anything that you can possibly think of. I've been recently reading a couple of books. One was by Dr. Edith Eger, and the other was by Dr. Viktor Frankl, both of whom you may have heard of, who went through Auschwitz and the camps during the Second World War. And their attitudes towards finding meaning and purpose in life, to finding means of being able to forgive and distance themselves from the pain that was caused to them and their families, the pain and the loss. That's been mind-blowing, actually.
I'm sure.
I think we don't realize the power that we have in just taking an attitude to life and saying that this is the way I want my life to be. This is how I want my reaction to be. I want to be filled with compassion. To read how somebody would give their last crust of bread to somebody who they thought was starving more than they were themselves. Would I have had the courage to do that? Would I have had the courage to stand up and hide people who needed hiding to save their lives? I don't know. And please God, I hope I'm never put to that test. But the fact that the people lived the way that they did, is absolutely mind blowing.
And that's why I believe it's so important to read stories like this, not stories, events and situations from whatever they are, wherever they are in the world, because it reminds me of actually everything is okay. Even if I think life is falling apart and it's really
in this
actually
moment, yes,
what am I saying?
In this moment, that's the outer appearance, but this is one of the things that
I know it's relative,
incorporated in my spiritual mind treatments for people, is that no matter what the temporary, this is one word, apparent reality of a situation, it is only temporary. It only appears to be the way that we perceive it. That it can change. We're not part of that bigger picture, but when we allow that bigger picture to take precedence, to overlay our little bit of it, our little bit of reaction to it, then it actually, it takes us out of reacting. It takes us out of being triggered. It takes us into a place of a deeper calm, and actually it's easier then to sort of say to talk about being connected to that bigger picture, that infinite creation that we are a part of.
Sorry. So these practices, they allow for an increase of understanding of emotional intelligence.
Yes, absolutely. There's something called access consciousness, and in this, the foundational layers of that, if I can put it that way. One of the things that they do is they use a form of affirmation, actually, and one of the daily practices that I used to use and do return to every so often, even now, is what else is possible. How does it get any better than this? Doesn't matter whether it's good or bad, actually.
Love it.
Get any better than this?
That's such a good question.
So I don't know how, but if I put it out to the universe knows how, and the universe orchestrates everything in that bigger picture to allow that to happen. And that's when the miracles occur. That's when the synchronicities occur.
And as you're saying that, it feels as if, well, if I'm asking that question, how can it get any better than this? I can say that at whatever stage I'm at.
Absolutely.
In my life. because it's an expansive question.
Yes.
And it takes away any sense of this is limited and there's lack here and it can't get any better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and I'll tag on to the end of that. How lucky am I?
Right.
Because actually, throughout my life, I have been lucky.
And that's when it comes back to gratitude, because we can say, okay,
Yeah.
there is water coming out of the tap. I am taking a breath right now.
Yes. Yeah.
I do have clothes to wear right now.
Absolutely. Yes. Yeah. All those things, all the little everyday things that we have tended to take for granted. The more we can feel the gratitude, and this is actually one of our real powers, is to feel.
Yes.
Not just use the words, but yes, that's one way of conditioning the subconscious, but to actually allow yourself to feel, go into the feeling of something and really re-experience or imagine the experience of what something would be like. That sets up a vibration in the body. I know some people are a bit unclear about sort of vibrations and frequencies. So let me sort of see if I can unpack that. The frequency is where you tune to the frequencies is where you're actually tuning your radio or your TV channel, or you're going onto a particular website. Let's put it that way. If you mistype the ID for the website, you don't get on it. It's as simple as that. But if you're typing in that particular frequency, that is what you're going to hear. That's what you're going to connect with. That's the information that you're going to get. The vibration is the volume. So the two things work together, is finding the right frequency, being absolutely clear of what it is you're wanting in this life, being absolutely clear that it's on this channel and this channel only, folks, and then amplifying that. If you've done any NLP, if you've done any of those personal development courses, they tell you to get into the feeling of something and then turn up the volume. And turn it up again, and turn it up again, until it is huge. And anchor that.
Yes. I love it. So it's like really finding the frequency and then amplifying.
Absolutely.
Like really amplifying the light through our auric field, through as an energy, as consciousness out, and knowing that there's no limit to it.
Absolutely.
And that's
we are the universe. We are in our energetic being, that our light being, because more people are now talking about being a light being rather than an energy being. That light expands to the furthest reaches of the universe and beyond. Actually, the latest research that's coming through the James Webb telescope is telling us that there is more out there than we have ever imagined. And our connection is with all of that.
And why do you think, Erica, we tend to keep ourselves small and things aren't possible and that can't happen and I'm not good enough and it's not the right time and I'm too old and I don't
know enough and
I don't know enough, I haven't got the knowledge, I can't
all of those
do it. All of it, especially as we
it is conditioning over generations, so many generations.
So this comes back to the ancestral.
There's a reason for it. If you think back to when we were a tribal community, to survive, you needed to be part of the tribe. You couldn't be outside the tribe. You couldn't be an outcast. Because to be an outcast, you didn't have the power of the tribe to keep you going. So to fit in with the tribe, the tendency was to play oneself down, right. That one fitted in, so one didn't make ripples, that one didn't sort of rock the boat, and that's been sort of passed on in the way that, you know, that we've all got to a point where we've lost touch to a certain extent in actually expressing ourselves. So, I don't know about you, but certainly when I was growing up, I was told to keep my voice down.
Yes, I was like,
so children should be seen sort of thing.
Tone it down.
Yeah. So when I do get start to talk about something that I am passionate about, yes, my voice, it's noticeably stronger, because I've been conditioned through my life to play it small, to fit in. And one of the other aspects of that, of course, is because being female in a male-dominated society for so many generations, although that is changing now, thank goodness.
We're here with this.
We weren't allowed to speak up. You know, we were repressed. And we've had that sort of slight swing of the pendulum through the feminist era, and I think now things are sort of starting to sort of balance out, so that it's neither patriarchal or matriarchal. It's what it should be, like a joint venture.
Yes,
So,
unified.
a unified energy moving forward. Yeah.
Oh my word, Erica. Reverend Dr. Erica Brown, it's like we've been here, haven't even got started yet.
Oh my gosh! Oh wow! Where's the time gone?
I know, and
this type of conversation.
Like to ask you, yeah, we need a big cup of tea,
yes.
or 4 of them lined
Absolutely.
up.
Absolutely, yes.
So what is your superpower? Like, really, I know you talked about forgiveness and that as your spiritual practice, and that is a superpower practice for you. And internally, though, what would you say is the gift that you have as your superpower for yourself and the world?
Yes, yeah, I think part of it is the compassion and forgiveness. Ultimately, the bottom line is love. Actually, that is the. I used to play bridge a lot. And you know, you have a suit of cards that that would trump everything, and to gain the points. So love trumps everything. And it doesn't matter what it is or how long it's been around, or you know, whatever those little voices say. When you start to love yourself, actually you are so empowered, because it's not just your love that you're working on. You're bringing in that universal love that is wanting to express more of itself, wanting to express more of itself in every possible area of your life.
And that includes
singing as I say that, so I know it's true. And
loving those parts that we
accept,
don't truly accept about.
And if you can't love those parts that seem unacceptable, you start off by accepting them, acknowledging them, and then accepting them. And we all have a shadow side. We all have a shadow side. I mean, Jung talks about this, and it's when we accept that there is that shadow side of us, and we work with it and we embrace it. I can remember reading a book, decades ago now. It was one of these sort of fantasy sci-fi type things, which I love, by the way. And the protagonist was going from one dimension into another, and being confronted with some dragon type personality in the other dimension, and having to do battle, and it was how they were going to overcome this opponent in the other dimension, and the denouement of the story was that the only way that opponent could be defeated was through love.
Of course.
Because as long as you're fighting, or resisting, you're actually maintaining the fuel that keeps the
pushing it away.
Yeah.
So how can we connect with you, Reverend Erica? Is this your best way for people to get in touch
at the moment? Yes,
to work personally with you one-on-one.
Personally, with me one-on-one is through this this email, and with a brief outline of what the situation is, or that you'd like to make contact with your contact details, and then I will contact you. I'm in a phase of transition at the moment, so things are changing, things are morphing.
as always.
Well, more than ever before. Yes, absolutely. Everything is gaining momentum, it seems to be. So I'm sort of shutting down various websites and other connections, and just sort of focusing on the one means of connection at the moment. And then we can get together either via Zoom or via phone or whatever feels appropriate at the time, and take it forward from there. Yes, indeed.
Fantastic. Reverend Dr. Erica Brown, you are a woman of power.
Yes, I am.
I'm going to ask the question. I don't know. I can't say I'm going to affirm it. Maybe I'm going to affirm it. How much more of a woman of power can you be?
How much more of any power can any of us be? Oh my word! Yeah. The world is our
How much more can we be?
Yes, the potential is unlimited. As long as we're breathing in this body, the potential never stops. And then, in fact, that goes on into the next life.
And yes, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you
for sharing,
for giving me this opportunity of talking. I don't normally talk quite so much.
You'll be back. I know you'll be back on the show.
Yeah, love to.
I can feel it. And thank you to everybody that's been watching, whether it's now live or later on. You are absolutely a blessing, and I appreciate you being here. And I'm always learning. These broadcasts are so amazing. So many fantastic women come on and share, just like Dr. Erica has. If you found this and you're at the end of it, then go back to the beginning, because we're stopping now. Go back to the beginning and get this from the beginning of the broadcast, because sacred inspiration definitely on this show today. And I'm going to put this up here. You can receive your free monthly Divine CEO magazine. I think, Reverend Erica, you're going to be writing something in there for November, maybe.
Something next month. Yes.
Beautiful. So
edition. Yes.
That's exciting. I'm excited now to see what that will be. It will be very empowering. I'm like, okay, get me the magazine. And people are signing up for it. So there's the website.
Brilliant.
Address, sign up, and you'll be receiving it on the 1st of October. Last final word?
Oh, just keep going. Yeah, yes, every so often you're going to have to take a breather, just like a baby. You take 2 steps forward and you fall back a step, but you don't stop. You'll fall on your rump, and who cares? You get up again and you keep going. Take a breather, have a cry, have a thump of the pillow, scream, shout if you need to. Take a deep breath and say, I can do this. I can keep going, and I can still be more.
Yes. Oh, thank you for being here. I love it.
Bless you. It's been fabulous. Thank you so much, Laura. I've thoroughly enjoyed it.
You are so welcome. Thank you. Thank you, Reverend Dr. Erica, for being all that you are. It's been a treat. It's been an absolute treat. We'll be back here with the Women of Power next week. Have an amazing day.
Bless you. Thank you.